actually, I'm going to begin with some words. This is for me. Begin with some words from our Transcendentalist foremother, Margaret Fuller. She will show up several times today. I keep learning more about her. Margaret says, may we keep the heart bowed at every moment to receive instruction from the only wisdom, capital W, wisdom. And also I want to say a word about the Reverend Jen Crow. Today, as Reverend Ashley said, Jen is out east with her father, Cliff, who is in hospice, and we do hold Jen and her family in the light. This morning, Jen texted that she had moments of calm by her father's bedside. He was not conscious, but she was watching the most peaceful of beautiful sunrises sitting near him. And so that's an image to hold. I'm grateful always to Jen, for being friend, colleague, and guide. And I thank Ray and I thank Nancy. And Jim, is Jim Poulter here did he do the arranging at all?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Jim,
Yeah.
because the choreography of the room is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it looks like everybody can see and you can hear if I speak up. Okay, good. And did I say thank you to you, Liz, for doing that online? Thank you. And to all of you for being here and bringing your unfinished business as I bring mine. So the title, today's title came to me through Ray's meticulous and caring curation of homilies that I delivered in response to you and to the world back in the day. And it was, I didn't quite work here until whatever you said, Nancy. It was a few years earlier than that I retired, but I did come back that year, that summer, right? Okay. Just reading. So anyway, I was talking about Ray's meticulous and caring curation of those homilies. And on Ray's curated list, I saw a 2009 sermon titled Unfinished Business. And it fit with what was simmering in me as I thought toward today. That old unfinished business sermon was loosely about evolution, because in 2009, the year this congregation turned 150, another thing that turned 150 was Darwin's blockbuster 1859 book, The Origin of Species. Remember that sesquicentennial year? And we partied and we distributed the green pencils that said down the side, First Universalist Church, no hell for 150 years. And now in 2023, our pencils would say no hell for 165 years. No hell we humans don't make for ourselves. That is acknowledging this morning that many of our siblings world over are living a hell at this moment. Conflict, war, and want, and many old systems are faltering or failing. Some systems, churches included, are moving through the seeming chaos of necessary change. So we're called to be supple and patient and even hopeful. This morning, recognizing so much global unfinished business, recognizing the difficulties we are in as nations, as cultures, as one species on a warming planet, I'll say now out loud, my hope that what we do here today, we do as part of our commitment to life and to love and to the most enduring values of our living, evolving religious tradition. So I want to start with a mudra taught to me by the Reverend Karen Herring. I'll do it once or twice and then we'll do it together. Very simple. Um, May my mind be clear, my heart open, my spirit free. Then hands on the dantian here, belly, as I journey home to serve with love. I'll do it again. And then you could, this can be done seated. Ideally, we'd be standing. People feel like standing. That's great. But I think seated will be okay. So and I need a second. May my mind be clear, my heart open, pinkies, my spirit free, belly, as I journey home to serve with love. Can we try it together? Yeah. May my mind be clear, my heart open, my spirit free, as I journey home to serve with love. It's just to get us here. Lovely to watch you. Really, in this morning's program, I'm just picking up where I left off when I was with you for Daytime Connections a decade ago. Back then, I quoted a Jungian wise one, teacher, James Hollis, who said, "Our life is a brief pause between two mysteries. Our task, our hope, is to make that pause as luminous as possible." So it's in that spirit that I guide our morning program. Just as last time, we have the crystal, this was 10 years ago, you remember. We have the crystal bell to punctuate the sharing. And just as last time, I have a very low-tech egg timer for to time us. We have about an hour and a half till lunch is served. Thank you, lunch people. May not need all of that. My plan is to offer 4 prompts. I will lead up to the prompts. 4 prompts for reflection and writing, if that helps you. Sometimes it helps. The first 2, a little briefer than the second 2. We're going to go deeper as the hour and a half goes on. And after each reflection, an opportunity to share with a neighbor. And when Ray and I talked about this, we originally talked dyads. Dyads would probably be ideal, 2 people. If that just doesn't work logistically, 3 is okay. You just won't have quite as much time to share. And we're just going to trust you on this. You all know how to do this. So I don't want to over direct. I want to over direct to the point that you don't have to think very much. So I will punctuate everything with a bell. It's like bell, time to reflect. Bell, end of reflection, time to share. Bell, that. So, and I'll tell you all the way. For online folks, for you, I guess sharing in the chat could be a way. Okay, thumbs up from Liz, right? And what's true is that my joy today, besides simply being with you, is to witness the ways you find and hear each other. Having said that, those of us in this big room will do our best with an impossible task, which is to actually hear each other when it's time to share, while recognizing, for starters, that our hearing abilities differ. Possibly these things can bring some, if you're not too concerned about passing viruses, I see many folks are masked, and that's always wise. If you're not too concerned about passing viruses back and forth, lean in and speak somewhat softly. That's fine. Another, share what you can briefly and maybe continue over lunch. Another is, this is really a bad idea, but I'll say it. And speaking and listening is just too hard, challenging. Read what each other's written. No, I think we delete that, but it works. As Ray said to me recently, one of the many wise things Ray said to me is, so today is about connections one with another. Probably the main person you'll want to hear your thoughts is you. Yeah. So about the unfinished business theme, I'm thinking we will start on the material plane, the world of physical stuff, and then move part of less tangible levels of our lives. So this is how, in my mind, the topic hatched.
Where's the recorder?
It was late September. My friend Gail and I were seated at Orchestra Hall. Alpine Symphony, conducted by Thomas Somerard. Anybody else there? The piece is a tone poem by Richard Strauss. It describes musically each phase of an alpine hike. The climb through all kinds of terrain, bird songs, meadows, beauty and sweetness, thunderstorm, lightning, mists, and dangers all the way up, all the way down, and finally calm, sunset, and night. The hikers set in intention and they slog on. And you know how it goes in a big hall like that, listening to music as you settle in for the musical journey. Sometimes you're marveling at the music, sometimes you're marveling at the musicians, maybe sometimes you're marveling at the 5-inch spike heels one of the violinists is wearing. And sometimes the mind goes off on its own hike, as in a waking dream. Each listener in the hall traveling to places we can't see. So later, when we're in the car heading home, my friend Gail says, as I listened to the symphony, I began to think about my plans for the weekend. And I finally asked myself, why am I going to the rock show at the State Fairgrounds tomorrow? I like rocks, but I've been there before, and I realize that all I'm doing is avoiding what I really need and want to do, which is to sort through all the stuff on all 3 floors of my house. I've been avoiding. By the laughter on here. Drawers, closets, the room in the basement where I put things like the food processor I would never use. It's time to face it, sort it, bag it, move it out to the Goodwill. Let someone else enjoy it. And the next day, she began 2 weeks of gathering, sorting, transporting, making space. It was a cleanse. It was exhilarating. Then after Christmas, she did another round of bagging and donating, and now she's not only enjoying the spaciousness, she's also feeling some new creative energy. Then last week, she told me she finally found the 1937 Remington noiseless manual typewriter that she wrote poems on in high school, and it's in perfect shape, and she'll use it. So here's the prompt, of course. Might there be something unfinished in your material world? 1 thing, 2 things, a list of things, anything. Putting the old chair on Craigslist. Finding a new younger dentist who will be there to your last tooth. Or making an important trip of some kind. Some tangible task waiting for you. And possibly you can feel how freeing it will be on the other side. And it might nudge you a little to say it out loud to somebody today. So we won't need much reflection time, most likely, but a couple minutes. I'll sound the bell. We'll reflect a couple minutes, and then we'll share a couple minutes, and then the bell.
Want to be part of sharing.
Yeah, first we reflect, just quiet reflection, to find what's going to bubble up.
So now if you will turn to a friend around you, here, or a spouse or a loved one, and share what happened. Rob, did you have enough time? Did you have enough time for that? Oh, good, okay, because you were all having a good time. And I kept waiting for maybe the noise level to kind of come down like, but no, and that's great. No, just go for it, right? Okay. Uh, and I also want to say that rather than after each prompt, because the idea is to go deeper, rather than after each prompt saying, you know, what would you like to share with the room? Maybe we'll wait till the very end and say that and then see what rises. So it's so fun to see you all involved. So, that's my heart saying. So the second section, This is a poem. I'm starting with a poem that I forgot I knew until Ray's thumb drive reminded me. Um, It's just so often the case, like, oh, that was a good poem. I knew that once. The poem speaks of God as him, and I'll keep it in because the way the patriarchal framing fits the message, fits with the message the author is trying to reframe. So this is a poem called The God Who Loves You by Carl Dennis. It must be troubling for the God who loves you to ponder how much happier you'd be today had you been able to glimpse your many futures. It must be painful for him to watch you on Friday evenings, driving home from the office, content with your week, 3 fine houses sold to deserving families, knowing as he does exactly what would have happened had you gone to your second choice for college. Knowing the roommate you'd have been allotted, whose ardent opinions on painting and music would have kindled in you a lifelong passion. A life 30 points above the life you're living, on any scale of satisfaction, and every point a thorn in the side of the God who loves you. You don't want that, a large-souled man like you who tries to withhold from your wife the day's disappointment so she can save her empathy for the children. And would you want this God to compare your wife with the woman you were destined to meet on the other campus? And you think how this loving God would feel knowing that the man next in line for your wife would have pleased her more than you ever will, even on your best days when you really try. Can you sleep at night believing a God like that is pacing his cloudy bedroom, harassed by alternatives you're spared by ignorance? The difference between what is and what could have been will remain alive for him even after you cease existing, after you catch a chill, running out in the snow for the morning paper, losing 11 years that the God who loves you will feel compelled to imagine scene by scene, unless you come to the rescue by imagining him no wiser than you are, no God at all, only a friend, no closer than the actual friend you made at college, the one you haven't written in months. Sit down tonight and write him about the life you can talk about with a claim to authority, the life you've witnessed, which for all you know is the life you've chosen. So the prompt is about you and that person you may not have contacted for months or years. When that part of the poem came along about the college friend, did a face appear in your mind's eye? Was there someone somewhere? Is there someone somewhere you have a message for? An appreciation, some unfinished business, cousin, neighbor, old flame, anyone who comes to mind when you put yourself into the poem. So I will sound the bell and we'll take a few minutes and reflect. I'll sound the bell and we'll share it. And I'll sound the bell.
That's different.
Definitely some unfinished business. So as before, you can turn to the same person, a different person, and share what happened.
Yeah. And then.
I love it. We are slowly coming back. Coming back at our own pace. These are important conversations. And I guess part of the unfinished business is these conversations. There you have it. Object lesson. So at your tables, you or online, you have an Andrea Gibson long poem called A New Kind of Bucket List. The intro to that, she says, throughout my life, I've heard friends talk about their bucket list. They want to kite surf in Peru, bungee jump in Bali, coffee with Dolly Parton, and a roadside diner in Tennessee, all of which sound amazing. That does sound amazing. But my personal bucket list has always been a bit different. For many years now, my biggest dreams haven't required passports or parachutes. As much as I love traversing the world outside, healing my inner world has been most of what I've longed for in this life. So today's sweet community, she says, I share my bucket list. Then she has a long poem, which is actually not for now. It's for you to take home in case you want to write your own. I just thought it would be a good thing to have, but I do want to just list a few of my favorites because I'm the speaker. And so, like just several of my favorites on her bucket list. To know what lives at the root of my fear, to weed that garden until only truth blooms. To dance like everyone's watching, but so what? To see people as a mystery, especially those I know best. To love my body as if it were my soul's silhouette. That's radical. To have a heart so warm, it could heat the homes of my haters. Whoa. To know every leaf, every river, every sunrise is a child saying, watch me, watch me, watch me. To live like I'm kissing the universe on her tip. So for me, when it comes to these soul tasks, the phrase unfinished business doesn't quite fit. Is the soul's work or business ever finished? So today I'm thinking about the word complete rather than the word finished. As when our transcendentalist foremother, Margaret Fuller, said, "What I want is a beautiful, complete life of its kind." Or maybe it's what she meant when she said she wanted to feel herself living. So here's Andrea Gibson again, our poet, something she shared online through TikTok. And this is after her oncologist told her her cancer is incurable. Here's what she says to us on TikTok. The next day I woke up and Meg took me on a drive to lift my spirits because drives typically always cheer me up. But as we drove past the llama she calls Llama Del Rey, and the silo that I usually can't drive by without saying, I could live in that silo, I realized that I wasn't seeing any of it because I couldn't pick my head up. And I said, Meg, I can't even pick my head up. And she said, yeah, what's going on? And I told her I knew that if I picked my head up, I would love everything I saw. And I was afraid to love what I might soon lose. And a couple minutes later, I did the most courageous thing I've ever done in my life. I picked my head up and I loved the world that I knew wouldn't always be mine. And then Andrea tells us, don't be so afraid of losing life that you don't live it. Jungian James Hollis says the soul wants to live in the large. The soul wants to live in the large. Margaret Fuller said she wanted to hear or to sense the musical chord of her life as a full chord, no tones missing, which could mean having those moments Andrea Gibson described, picking her head up, lifting her awareness to the wonder of the living world. Well, Fuller died at age 40, surely unfinished with her plans, and yet, if her life held many, many moments where the full chord of her life was resonating and she knew it, who can say her living wasn't complete? So, for this third reflection, the invitation in this reflection is to call up a recent or not so recent moment when your life felt, if not finished, complete. A moment when your one-of-a-kind soul truly felt itself living. When did you recently, fully, mostly feel yourself living and you knew the resonance of the full chord of your life, no notes missing? Invite that moment, no matter how brief, how surprising, the gift of it. And we will reflect for a while. So let us tenderly share. Is that sufficient? Time? Yes or no? Yes, right, to be continued, that's the whole idea. You'll all be back next month. You'll all be back. So James Hollis again. Jungian teacher, therapist in his 80s now. Says that to the degree that we are able, the soul asks us to choose the path of enlargement, not in service to wealth, fame, or the script given us by parents or society, but in service to the soul, which wants to add its unique fragment to the great mosaic of being, which invites us to ask at each crossroads, does this choice enlarge me or diminish me? Does this choice enlarge me or diminish me? So Hollis, who lives in Washington, D.C., tells about a huge sculptural work, really a wall, almost a room of sculpture. He often visits, it's at the Smithsonian Museum of American Art. It inspires him. The sculpture, titled "The Throne of the Third Heaven of the Nation's Millennium General Assembly." The throne of the third heaven of the nation's Millennium General Assembly is the work of James Hampton, African-American, World War II veteran, janitor for the federal government. By day, James Hampton swept floors and cleaned toilets. By night, Hollis says, he walked with gods. By night, in his rented garage on 7th Street, he assembled a grand vision that was not discovered till after his death at age 55 in 1964. Using tinfoil from 1,000 pieces of chewing gum and other fragments discarded by a bored public passing through the buildings in his custodial care. Using also cardboard, light bulbs, jelly jars, paint, even old furniture. Slowly, privately, over a period of many years, Hampton stayed at his soul's task, giving form to the visions that were given him. The centerpiece of his sculpture is a throne, many feet tall, with the words, "Fear not," at its crest. Art critic Robert Hughes wrote that this may well be the finest work of visionary religious art produced by an American. It now stands for the world to see. Rumi says a white leathery snake egg, a sparrow's egg, a quince seed, and apple seed, very different things, look similar at one stage. These leaves, our bodily personalities, seem identical, but the globe of soul fruit we make, each is elaborately unique. Hollis says the soul wants meaning and a task. Meaning and a task. In the midst of all the claims on us, the soul asks us to keep tuning in to our own peculiar, idiosyncratic voice, and to keep coming back to the remarkably unremarkable tasks of the day, not letting fear or lethargy have the last word. So this last prompt is about what kinds of nourishment do you need for the next part of your alpine trek, your alpine adventure? What do you imagine are your basic requirements? My friend Gail needed to get rid of stuff. James Hampton needed to pick up bits of stuff. Tinfoil, paper, thrown away things. Margaret Fuller said about her creative life, I can give lessons or do errands while there are minutes in a day, but I cannot think a thought or write a line except under certain conditions. What conditions did she need? Well, apparently she needed long walks, pots of tea, conversation partners, music. And she needed to seize those rare hours when she was headache-free These things, she said, enabled her to flow with her natural current. To flow with her natural current. So for this last reflection, I'll say the question several different ways. What are your optimal conditions these days? Not a decade ago, but now, your optimal conditions. These days, what are your soul's requirements or requests? What helps you flow with your natural current? And of the things that feel essential to you, is there one thing that's especially helpful right now? And is there something you feel you need more of, and could there be a way to access it? I'll say those last couple again, just because they're kind of different. Of the things that feel essential to you now, is there one thing that's especially helpful? And is there something you feel you need more of, and could there be a way to access it? So, reflection time. So, you may share with one another. I just love the ease with which you lean in. It's just like you don't need any forcing at all. It's just so good to see you together. So quickly, so quick to share. So this is a time, we have a few minutes left. I was thinking that Ray said he would sprint with the microphone. If Ray can sprint. He is able. So if there are things that you would like to share with the larger group, surprises, things you don't want to forget, things that you think might be useful to others, just things. Now would be a time.
Something you might not know is that our library, right over there, has keep sermons in CDs. And so I suspect that unfinished business is one of those that can be checked out in case you're interested in digging up from the past.
Any discoveries you all made about yourselves that are shareable?
This isn't that, Kate, but I love James Hollis, and I have not heard that story, so you must have access to a book I don't have. What book you got that story?
I think that book is in Living an Examined Life. It's kind of a skinny book, short chapters. Might have been 4 or 5 years ago. It's full of yummy stories.
Thank you.
I'm just thinking that I have lots of inspiration now for my new retirement.
My soul's requirements, a desk in morning time before the household is stirring, and something that I want to write about, coupled with the spirit of discovery. I wonder what's going to come.
Just wanted to thank you because it's so important that the way you ask the questions, that there's things that came up that wouldn't have without your questions.
I don't want to really scream.
Is that right? Okay, okay. So the first time I ever heard the song "Everything is Holy Now" was here in the sanctuary. And I had the great good fortune to participate in the sermon circles where we had an opportunity to discuss some of Kate's sermons. And the hymn, Everything is Holy, the song "Everything is Holy Now" came up in one of the sermons, and we had a wonderful conversation about the meaning of that. And it just popped into my head this morning that each one of my answers to the questions that were posed, I could definitely raise up as everything is holy now. Looking back on the people who have been important to me, looking back on looking now at what's essential, looking at completion, And it's wonderful to be full circle and have so many wheels within those wheels operating. Something.
Liz, does one of our virtual attendees want to say something?
Yes, I'm trying to get that.
Make me sprint a long way.
Well, it's wonderful to see you again, Kate. You are loved in this. And that actually kind of is, it's a small little request, maybe 3 or 4 guest sermons a year.
You can repeat them too from earlier.
Yeah, that would have to happen.
Hello, I'm a bit of an outlier today, not a member of the church, so I'm so thankful and appreciative for letting me be here. But I am definitely at a stage in life that what I need is to listen to people whose paths are different, people who have had longer roads than I have. So I'm gonna follow this man's example and how peer pressure you into maybe sending out 10 books. You such a wealth of knowledge and other poetries and other thoughts. And what are some things that you've picked up along the road that you can all share and have your brain on a long sort of. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. My brain is very small. And there are so many people here who know lots more poems than I do, but I thank you for that. And I also, I realize that, I think a long time to bring you a little something. So it's not like I'm not so bountiful as I may appear. And hello, Reverend Arif. I see you in the back there. So good to see you. So good to see you. So anyway, I would, do anything for all of you, but what else can I say?
I'm listening to Sam's request and rephrasing it. Raise your hand if you would like a list of some of the references, the sources that like the poems and the readings.
For today,
From today. Okay.
easy.
We'll email that out to you.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to say that all your clergy here are so poem literate. They have such, their bookshelves, their sermons, their whatever stashes are so full of all those things that we all crave. So just so you know that. Sarah.
I really want to thank Daytime Connections for this, and it's like a big reunion of people that some people I haven't seen for a long time, and I'm so happy that you came, Kate. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So I would say that we all have, so I'm wishing you well and blessing with all your unfinished business on all those levels, wishing you many moments of completeness in your life. And also one more word from Margaret Fuller, who says, "Is it not good that there should be bounty beyond our conceiving? Is it not good that there should be bounty beyond our conceiving?" So we will continue into lunch with that recognition of the riches. Well, why don't we do the mudra one more time, just kind of as a way to center ourselves for the day, the next part. So may my mind be clear, my heart open, my spirit free. I'm sorry, spirit-free. Teach me this new. As I journey home to serve with love. Namaste, all of you.
Every time it's lost, the last thing was concern.
With love. Just the biggest words, right? Love is always the finale, Ben.
A round of applause.
Yes, we eat.
No, no.
So we.
We have unfinished business. Let's not underestimate the forces that we are striving against that have kept us from finishing business. Denial, procrastination, pride, fear. If we can name them first to ourselves and then to each other, we have a better chance of letting them go and getting on with the joys and the new challenges of a fuller life. I encourage you to share whatever insights you gained this morning with the people in your lives or at your lunch table today. Our acts of honest sharing spread the ripples. I'm going to ask for one more round of applause, but this time the clapping will be for each other. We'll be clapping our gratitude for being in this community of spiritual seekers, and we're clapping our encouragement to each individual who goes forth from this gathering with the resolve to face into whatever unfinished business they have for each other. Now, I have some unfinished business and I need your help with it. For a couple years now, I've had the project of gathering audio tapes and CDs of Kate's sermons. Holly Hudson, Ann Friendship, Deborah Talon, Jan Smith, Kim Kameyer, and Kate herself are some of the friends who have contributed to my store. Now we have gathered a total of 86 sermons. And miraculously, they can all be stored on one flash drive. Kate and I would like your help in gathering more of her sermons. For years, this church made copies of our Sunday services available on audio cassettes and CDs. Holly showed me that just this week, somebody dropped off a bag full of audio tapes and CDs. I'm so excited, I'm gonna run home and see which ones I don't have yet. So I think that many of you brought those sermons home and that now they are sitting somewhere in your closet. Would you do me the favor of searching through your homes, finding those cassettes and CDs, and bringing them to church on any convenient Sunday? The office will be open, and here's the box that'll be in the office. You can just drop them into. Thanks very much. During lunchtime, I'm going to be running around to the tables and leaving off lists of here are the 86 sermons I already have. Please don't bring those in.
Is that available online somewhere? Where can we listen to them? Are we gonna make?
I'm getting it. So, and then here are sheets where you can sign up at your tables And it's signing your name if you're interested in receiving a flash drive when I've completed gathering up as many as we can, you see. And I hope to have all those new ones digitized by the end of April, and the flash drives would then be available by May or June. They won't be for sale, but Kate has asked that you make a donation to the church in exchange. Virtual attendees, don't panic. No one will be excluded from getting a flash drive just because they didn't sign a piece of paper today. You can count on announcements in the Liberal when the flash drives become available in the spring. If you are technologically challenged, and aren't we all, please do not rob yourself of this opportunity by telling yourself that you could never get that flash drive to work. Your grandkids could set it up for you in Flash. Or I will come over and get you going. It would be a pleasure. One final plug. For the last year, a bunch of us have been participating in Kate Tucker sermon circles on Zoom. That's what Susan was mentioning. They meet once every 2 weeks. You get the audio file and the discussion questions a week before the Zoom meeting so that you can listen to the sermon and come to the session prepared to discuss how it relates to your life. The sharings in these circles have been extraordinary. We'll be offering those circles again in the late spring, but the registration for them is going to happen in February. So watch in the Liberal for that. Okay, now Nancy has something to tell you about.
Are they gonna announce this?
First, I want to acknowledge that, as many of us do, I make mistakes, and the mistake I made, well, besides not saying hello, I'm Nancy Gashad, was to say that Kate worked here until 2021. It was 2012 written down in my notes. So I think it was my heart wishing that had been. I want to tell you about the next daytime connections we're going to have. When we were at a summer retreat, the 8-person daytime connections planning team, someone said, why don't we try to do something that's fun? And so we came up with inviting the Minnesota writer Lorna Landvik to come. And Lorna is a prolific writer. She's written, I think, 10 books. And she also is a kind of a stand-up comic. And so she's agreed that she will come. She has a new book, and I want to tell you what's written about her new books. I know we have a little bit of time. Are you looking to read a novel that will increase your IQ by 30 points, double your income, and tighten your abs? There might be one out there like that, but until we find it, please check out The Last Circle of Love. It's about a group of Wiley Church Circle members who, wanting to save their crumbling old church, decide to create a different sort of fundraiser, a cross between a recipe book confessional they jokingly refer to as the ABCs of erotica. Reading it, you may have your own ideas as to what F or U or N stands for. So, and I think Lorna will have copies of this book that can be purchased. So I think it will be fun. You do, as always, if you sign up, then we know how many lunches to order. So look for the announcement in the Liberal where you can get to register.
When will it be? What's the date? The date?
The date is February 15th, I'm pretty sure. It's
It's
always
always
the third Thursday. And I'm pretty sure it's February 15th. And then are we ready to talk about lunch?
No, no.
Let's just,
West.
okay.
Yes. Yes.
Karen?
Well, it's a long walk.
Hi, Ray gave me a couple of minutes to promote a program I'm going to be doing. My name is Karen West. I'm a long-term member of First Universalist, and I come and I go. And recently I've come back again. And I was here about almost 10 years ago now, introducing First Universalists to conscious aging. I did many circles on the topic. And last year I did a presentation on writing legacy letters. So I'm a certified saging leader now, I have been for quite a while. And Saging International has an introductory signature class called Awakening the Sage Within. And I did teach that here one time. But I've created a new class called Deepening the Sage Within, which is a lot more time to get to know what this saging and aging is all about. And Saging International is going to be offering my class from February 7th through March 20th. And I'm hoping a few of you would like to sign up. I've got one flyer, but I have a clipboard. I'm going to come around and ask people to give me their email address if they'd like me to, if you'd like me to send you the flyer. I'm also going to be offering a wisdom circle that will be an ongoing group the first Friday of the month, starting in March, from 11 to 12:30. I'm a big fan of synchronicity. I talk about it all the time. And I like that Kate used the word complete so much. One of the things I have in the flyer for the Deepening the Sage Within is a quote from Rabbi Zalman's book, From Aging to Saging, which is, "Elderhood offers us the wonderful opportunity to complete our lives triumphantly." I'm not sure if I like complete or triumphantly best, but what a wonderful sentence. So I will be coming around and seeing if you want to give me your email address so I can send you a flyer. And I hope it's sometime in the future to teach this class here. I've mentioned it to both Arif and to Ashley, and of course they've been supportive as they always are. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Hello again. So I haven't had the opportunity to sit down with many of you. There are so many faces here that are new to me. Part of that's because I've only been around for a little over a year. But part of that is because I'm going to break the cultural norm here and be really, really direct. There's unfinished business that we have collectively in this community. And I want to invite you to let that be real, to let the grief you have be present, and to give us the gift of letting us bear witness. Much of life cannot be understood, but only witnessed. I wasn't here. I'm not going to understand, but I can bear witness. And my hope is in that witnessing, there might be enough finishing of the unfinished that you can keep showing up in this community and finding the nourishment you found today. You are beloved. We need you. We want you to be here and nourished. I hope you will take that to heart and know that it is completely true. Okay? My email is ashley@firstuniv.org. I will email the whole room to remind you I am here to bear witness. Arif is here to bear witness. Jen, when she is back, is here to bear witness. Your grief matters. Your presence matters. We love you.
In a minute, we're going to have words about physical nourishment. I'm holding up this hearing aid again. It's worth a lot of money. And if nobody claims it, then it's going to be going to the parish lost and found.
Where is that? Go.
It was found on the floor in this room this morning, so that's why. Okay. Liz?
Wear hearing aids tonight, you wanna check my ears.
I know.
So lunch. First, let's talk money. It costs us money. And not everyone, if you don't have the money today, good. Share with us, you're very welcome. If you do, pony up. I mean, really, pony up. Also, disposing of things, we are using paper plates today because we don't want to be here till midnight running the dishwasher. The paper plates do not go in compost. They have some wax on them. They go in the trash. I will set up a disposal unit and I will stand there and channel the spirit of Cecilia Newton and tell you where everything goes. Napkins and food, compost, paper plates, trash. Any other questions? I will tell you. There is gluten-free bread. Reminder for lunches. I know some of us have dietary needs that really can't be addressed here. You are welcome to bring your own lunch and sit in community with us. That's a wonderful thing. What else do I want to say about lunch? Four buffet. Oh, we have 4 buffet lines because there's so freaking many of you here today. So we have 4 lines set up in there. So I guess get your food and are we ready?
Suggested donations.
Suggested donations.
There's a sign.
Yeah, it costs us a little over $7 per person with our beloved caterer. So. Yeah. Go for it. Are we done? Can we eat now? Go eat.
This is Janet. This is where I thought you were. You know each other. Oh, yes. My dad's on. See, when I saw that came to do the envelope stuffing, I thought you were Janet Mills. No, I didn't. No, she wasn't here, so I asked where Janet was. Oh, and you stood up. I said, I'm really honored. How was your dad? He's fine. That's an iPhone. Park Shore. Across from it was my target. It's just apartments. So here at Daytime Connections, Stu Hansen